With another anniversary for Fire Emblem Heroes right around the corner, that means one thing: another Choose Your Legends event. And most people like to diversify their votes and vote for quite a few of their favorites. But if I look back through all my ballots, especially the first one, there's actually only one character that hasn't made it into the game in any way, shape, or form. And for me, that's Kiragi from Fire Emblem Fates. Now, if you don't know who he is, he's the son of Prince Takumi from Fire Emblem Birthright, or Revelation. I don't know if people ever, like, if they play all three, or just skip the alternate path and just do Revelation, but either way, I plan on giving all my votes to Kiragi because he's my favorite character in Fire Emblem, and we still don't have him in the game yet in any way, shape, or form. And I really want to give him all the skills I have, but I'm hoping to persuade a few of you to at least give one vote to him this Choose Your Legends. And I'm going to do that by giving you some background information on Kiragi. So, I know a lot of people don't like Takumi because he's generally kind of a negative character when you first get to know him. But if you do go through his supports, he does typically become a more easygoing character and more relatable and that kind of stuff. And just more helpful, I guess, quote unquote. If you think about like Azura's supports with him and like helping the boy get back to his parents, but that's a discussion for another time. The thing with Kiragi is he's pretty easygoing right from the get-go. He's generally happy, and he's always positive. I mean, his title in the in-game / his title for Faye would be Optimistic Archer, and I think that reflects his personality pretty well, unless you look at his portrait in which he's frowning, which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not sure what the artists were thinking there, making his general portrait a frown, but his critical portrait is nice because he's given a really good smile. But he really wants to come along with the army at the end of his prologue, and Takumi doesn't want him to because it'd be dangerous, but he talks to him some more, and then he's like, alright, you can come, and then he's like super excited about it, and says like, yay for my face, which is kinda, it's goofy, but it also just kinda shows how easygoing he is and how happy he gets over just little things. But to be fair, I'm pretty sure most, if not all, the children are happy to go along, I guess, besides like Bajat, maybe, because she wants to keep doing her experiments. But either way, another aspect I like about him is even though he's easygoing, he also can be serious if it's necessary. Like if you do his supports with Selkie, they find a bunch of poachers, and Kiragi's like, stay back, we should see what these guys are doing. But Selkie runs it, like he knows not to run in, despite, you know, knowing he could probably take them on regardless. But Selkie runs in, and he ends up saving her anyway. But that's also just kind of the person he is. He'll help anybody in need. He obviously likes to hunt, because in his paralogue he just got back from bagging a bear before the invisible army attacks him. I'm not sure if, I guess a spoiler warning is needed for this video, but I'll put it on the thumbnail, so that's already taken care of. Let's see, what else? His supports for the Corrin aren't really, like, crazy. I mean, I did marry him just to see what they were. They were really sweet, but his quotes in your quarters, like, really show, I don't know, he kinda clings on to Corrin in a sense. He says, I don't know what I would do in this cold world without you, or something along that line, which I just think is super sweet. And he also gets nervous when he's trying to kiss Corrin. He's just really sweet. And he never makes anyone feel bad, like in his supports with Sophie, despite her being a massive klutz, he always helps her with whatever she needs to do. And, you know, he sticks with her no matter what. Some of his other supports, he has support with Soleil and Valoria, which his support with Soleil is kind of weird because he likes that she just has like a bunch of friends that are girls, which is like, okay. But in the end, yeah, he ends up getting friend-zoned by her, which is kind of weird because typically the only child that gets friend-zoned in Fates is Kana. But my first experience with him was Heirs of Fate, because my first playthrough was just after my first playthrough of Awakening, and that was my first ever Fire Emblem. But since then, I've experienced a lot of the other ones, just either through watching them or playing bits and pieces of them. I know the plot for most of them, like Thracia. I don't really know how that ends, but like I know it's Leaf trying to liberate Thracia. Like, I mean, I know there's way more to it, but like I could tell you more about genealogy, but I'm not gonna go into that because that's not what this video's about. But I don't expect Kiragi to win by any shape or form, but I just want him to have more votes so he can hopefully get into the game. Now, Forrest in the last Choose Your Legends was 88th place, and Kiragi was, like, in terms of Fate's Royal's children, was second below him, but that also makes sense considering Sigbert and Shiro were already in the game. Anyway, my first experience with him was Heirs of Fate, because it's like Days of Future Past, Days of Future Past, where, like in Awakening, you go back and you help the Children of Awakening defeat Grima in a dark future where they don't go back in time. They're just trying to defeat him where they are. So, it's kind of like that, but I'd say it's kind of happier just because of one specific thing, but I'm not going to spoil that. But I do recommend that if you haven't played that DLC, and you want to get to know the Fates children a little bit better without, like, marrying the parents, I'd say that's the best way to do it. I guess I could kind of talk about the skills I have for him. I've tried to save orbs for him in the past, and that's what I'm currently doing, but I really suck at saving orbs when it comes to just not knowing when a character's going to come. So, I just kind of save orbs off and on for him, and then if a banner blows through my orb pile, then it happens, but so far, I have dual colorless infantry, which I don't think will be needed considering the last few colorless units we've gotten have completely blown past that score limit. I have Swift Sparrow 3, close counter of course, because if you're going to have a bow unit, you probably want that just for versatility's sake. Like, it might not be used on them, but it's nice to have for an option. I have Fire Sweep Bow. I've got Desperation, I've got No Follow-Up, I've got Flashing Blade 4. I've got a bunch of stuff. I'm sure not all of it will be needed based on his kit, but I want to make sure he can be good right off the bat. So, like, I have a Brave Bow saved for him, I can use the Bouquet Bow for him, like I have New Year's Fiorm for, like, the Speed Chill Bow or Attack Speed Link. You know, just a bunch of different things to make him really good and usable in pretty much any mode that I want to use him in. I even have Dragonflower saved up for him, which most people I'm pretty sure would think you're crazy, considering if I see people complaining about Dragonflowers, it's typically infantry, so I make sure to save 600 at any given time, just in case he shows up. But any spares I do spend on other units, so there is that. But like, right now, I'm not really sure who to spend my other types of flowers on. I'm kind of got some ideas for my spare infantry flowers, but at the same time, like, it's also not, like, super, like, necessary for me to use them on the unit I've been using them on, because he's good as is. I'll probably use my summoner support on him. Of course, I'll give him Aether. I don't know if that'll even, like, you know, that won't really be optimal in most situations, but it heals and it does damage. Can't get much better than that. Unless you're Alphonse and Sharena and have Open the Future. I have Special Spiral for him, I guess. I've got Deathblow 4, Pulse Smoke, Life and Death 4, Special Spiral. Like, I've got pretty much anything a unit could want. Just, it depends on what his stat spread is and what he has to begin with. But, like I said, I want to make sure I have anything he could possibly want. In Fates, he typically does best as a ninja, but I like using him as a bow unit, and I used him as a Lodestar, which is Mars class, and he does really well with that, because his skill is typically pretty high, because when I would marry Takumi, I would have Korn take skill as her boon, so then his skill would be like almost 50, and then if you had Skill Taker, it'd be like over 50, which isn't crazy if you max people out, I guess, but use tonics, but if you aren't doing that, then it's really good. Like, I could never play the competitive Fates multiplayer that well. I wish it was a thing in future FE games, but I also understand why people didn't do it. Because we got hackers, and then that just kind of ruined the whole thing, because you'd get people you couldn't even do anything against. And it's also kind of like, you need to have units built a certain way. Like, it's good to have a breaker unit, so, you know, like, no matter what, you can have somebody that hits, or, you know, you can run Nori and Trust and all that fun stuff. But, I'm just kind of rambling at this point, and I'm not sure if people will enjoy this video or not. I hope people do. I've been wanting to make this video for like a while now, like a really long time, and I'd been trying to record it, and throwing out bad takes, but I just decided maybe if I just talked and didn't care about how it quote-unquote turned out, because I will make it somewhat better, like I'll add music and stuff, because right now I'm just recording audio on my computer for this. So, yeah, like, by no means give all your votes to Kiragi. I don't expect anyone to, but if you do, hey, I appreciate it. If you're ever wondering, like, who to vote for, just for, like, a random day when you're like, okay, or maybe after the halfway point you're like, well, it's obvious nobody I want's gonna win or even be close to winning to be on Farfetch'd, if that's ever a thing again, throw vote Kiragi's way, maybe it'll help him get into the game. I mean, I hope sooner rather than later, and sooner being before the game shut down, like way before, like I hope soon, because it's been a while since we've had a Fate Spinner. Our last one, like if we're counting like heroes that stay in the game, has been since the Kitsune and Wolfskin banner, which was chapter 4 of book 3, so it's been a good while since we've had permanent Fates heroes. I'm gonna stop this recording here, but if you guys have any questions for me, because I know I didn't really do what I planned on doing for this video, feel free to comment and we can have a discussion in the comments and stuff. If you stuck with me through this whole video, thanks for watching, more so listening. I'm gonna try to have like pictures that I have of Kiragi from Fates and other things, but I don't know what I'm gonna do for footage beyond like music and just some pictures I have. So, but I'll figure it out. Either way, thanks for watching, have a good day, and vote Kiragi for Choose Your Legends 4.